with me today is probably one of the nicest and funniest guys I have
Shut
ever...
up.
Okay, well, already ruined, but SNL legend, writer, comedian, actor, prolific voiceover artist, can be heard on DuckTales, Star Wars Resistance.
All shows that have been canceled.
Nothing that went past 3 seasons. My kind of voiceover artist, Mr. Bobby Moynihan.
Hello, I'm lazy. I like to keep it at 2 seasons.
Well, you know, welcome to the club. And welcome to my backyard.
Thank you. It's a very nice backyard.
And say hi to all the Canadians.
Hello, Canadians. How are you?
We're here today to talk about animation, but focus in on moral messaging and PSAs. What they had to do with, I guess, pretty much like the time we're going to focus in on is like the 80s, because
we were alive then.
And for whatever reason, we were also in trouble.
A lot.
A lot of trouble.
Well, is it or was it just in the 80s adults did not care about children in any way, shape, or form?
They want
it
the
was more
parents
about
were
like business and making computers for the first time.
I gotta go do a bunch of cocaine and make computers. Learn from G.I. Joe what not to do.
It's time to party and begin the fall of the future. That's what they were doing.
So clearly, I guess we might be of the same mind. Like, do you think that these things worked, or were they adverse?
I mean, in certain ways, I'm glad we're getting to see both sides of it. Like, it's like G.I. Joe taught us not to set fires when our parents weren't home. And now cartoons are going to teach us, like, not to make videos and post them online ever.
Right.
Because we'll ruin our future.
Right,
It's very different, but, like, both lessons are needed.
You know that X-rated video that you made that you were thinking of posting?
Yeah.
Don't post it.
Not a problem when we were children. I feel like me and you weren't thinking about making X-rated videos. We were more making stop-motion videos.
Of the X-rated nature.
Yes, probably.
Gumby and Pokey after dark. But yeah, G.I. Joe. Was it every episode they had like?
I think so. Like the moral, right? The moral, like like there was a.
Now you know.
And now you know. And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe.
Real American hero.
The one we talked about was what? Was it barbecue that was in the kitchen?
That's my favorite one. Was like kids decided to cook something. Parents weren't home. The curtains caught fire, and barbecue just like walked up to the window and was like, "Hey, I've been outside your house forever. Hey, I'm always outside your house.
I'm waiting for you to fuck up, so I can creepily go to your windowsill and be like, "Hey, kids."
It's like if I thought barbecue's thing as a G.I. Joe was that he knew a lot about fire, but evidently it's also teleportation to wherever fire is.
Well, yeah,
I don't know, I guess.
And I think the rule there was to stay in the burning house and call 911 as opposed to leave immediately.
You might let in poisonous gases. Stuff something under the door. And stay low. That way you avoid the heat and gases that rise upward.
So
you can survey the scene.
Yeah.
Make sure the rest of the good kitchenette stuff doesn't get ruined.
Yeah.
Priorities were different in the 80s. Pretty crazy if you think about it, that if a rotary dial phone to put a 9 in 911.
It's all the way at the end.
It's kind of fucked up. You should have just made it 111 with a rotary dial phone. It's really rude to make the first one 9. You're like getting shot and you gotta go click it. Rude.
We should time that, actually. If we can get it, we could fly in a rotary
How many
phone.
people died? Because if it was 111, they would have been fine, but...
Or just 1? Because 0's operating,
That's right, just help.
Yeah.
Come on.
Of course, aside from safety, the war on drugs.
Yes.
The George Bush Sr. and Barbara Bush efforts to rid us of and warn us of drug abuse.
And they did it.
Yeah, and
drugs are gone.
And even the good ones, the ones that help.
All the good ones.
Yeah.
Everything's gone.
Drugs, don't do them. Just let them do you, and life will find a way.
Yeah.
Chaos theory. But they made a PSA cartoon called Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue.
Yeah.
I mean, she was at the beginning, right?
Yeah, I wish she was more. I wish that had carried on. Where was she in Space Jam?
I don't know. She was like missing. I feel like LeBron.
Cartoon Barbara Bush needs to make a hard comeback.
I was more excited of the fact that we have this amazing meetup between Alf and Alvin and the Chipmunks.
The sound of a breaking piggy, if ever I've heard one.
And Winnie the Pooh and the Muppet Babies versus the message that
I adore everything you're saying. Any kind of time when the universes collide, it's my favorite thing in the world. The only time Mickey and Bugs are together is Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right?
Yep.
So that makes it the best movie of all time.
Me. What's up, Doc? Jumping without a parachute? Jumping without a parachute? Kinda dangerous, ain't it, Doc?
I'm not familiar. What is this?
I'm doing my Mickey Rooney impression.
Jiminy Jellikers! Jiminy Jellikers! Jiminy Jellikers!
Never heard of it.
I was a star!
But Alf talking to Garfield.
Yeah, Alf talking to Garfield. That should be a podcast.
Do you want to help, or do you want to be lunch?
My luck to be stuck on a dresser with a pushy alien.
I always thought that of all the cartoons that were in that Alf was like doing drugs.
The creator was. Right? Did you ever see Permanent Midnight?
During the 1980s, Jerry Stahl was a successful television writer. At the same time, he also had a $6,000 a week habit.
When you're a junkie, your #1 job is to shoot junk.
There's a movie called Permanent Midnight with Ben Stiller and Elizabeth Hurley, and it's all about Jerry Stahl, the guy who wrote Alf, and he was a heroin addict, and he pretty much wrote it to pay for his heroin.
What?
That he just like went nuts and wrote a television series about a alien that liked eating cats to pay for his heroin addiction.
Sounds like an
I
idea.
think
a
that's
heroin
right,
addict.
unless I'm on heroin right now.
I mean, I think we are. I mean, if
There
you're not,
might
I got a little something in these.
If you're gonna, I was gonna say, if you're gonna have it,
in a
have
Fozzie
it
Bear
in a
mug.
porcelain character mug.
Have some heroin.
Oh, you are Fozzie. You're everyone at this table.
Well, I wouldn't say me.
It must be awesome to go into like any store and just go, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me too. It must be kind of fun.
Only to me, but when I'm telling that to people who work at Target, they're like, get the fuck out of here. What is Ken Jeong doing here?
But
Telling
you want to
us.
tell people because you love it so much and because how happy it makes you. I get that.
Right. But you must experience that same joy, I guess, like, I mean, being a fan of I know we're talking about the war on drugs and PSAs, but if we could also jump
I
to
have
another
no focus.
episode.
I have no
Zero
focus, Canada.
Can we get a ball of yarn in here? We're just going to pass it back to each other. Being in Star Wars, I know you're a huge Star Wars fan.
I am. Well, that I was going to say, do you remember the I believe it was C-3PO and R2-D2 rapping about not doing drugs. It might have been about not smoking cigarettes, and it was like C-3PO or R2-D2 was smoking a cigarette, and C-3PO called him.
How?
Exactly.
Through
and
his
I think
eye?
they might have rapped about it.
My name, you know, is C-3PO. Rapping about space, the new place to go.
I need to see this.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. I remember being very floored by
Where
it.
were you when you first saw it?
I feel like I was at the library.
Is it good?
No.
I
No,
know.
it's an old white British man rapping.
My name is C-3PO, and
Yeah,
I'm here to say
you're
smoking
doing it.
is bad in a harmful way.
You can eat all you want and you won't gain a pound because there isn't any weight here like back on the ground. We travel very fast near the speed of light. You can leave in the morning and get home last night.
Right?
That's actually probably a lot better than what it was.
Did you ever get to work with him on Star Wars?
Twice. I'm listed with Anthony Daniels twice. I met him on 42nd and 10th once.
Buying drugs.
Outside of New York Comic-Con, he was walking
Oh.
down the street and he was literally walking like C-3PO. And I was like, that's C-3PO. And I walked up to him. I don't think I've ever said this to another human being in my life, but I was so nervous. I went, hello, my name is Bobby Moynihan. I'm on Saturday Night Live. Like I was 5 years old. And I just said, I'm a huge fan. And he went, you know who I am? And he said it just like C-3PO. And I was like, oh my God. And I asked him for a picture. And we were on 42nd and 10th, right near where I lived. And there was construction going on. And for some reason, the entire wall behind us was painted bright green. So, and I posted the picture, and everyone thought I was doing Star Wars because it looked like we were in front of a green screen. But I was like, I just accosted this man on the streets of New York. But yeah.
That's incredible. But can you imagine being in that suit for that many years? Of course you would end up walking like that.
Of course, yeah. See, like that's the thing. I wouldn't mind. My goal is to be a unseen droid in that universe, or like a monster in that universe someday.
You got me dead to rights. I'm not a cop, I'm a rabbit. But just because I got long ears doesn't mean there's nothing in between them.
I mean, Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue, do you feel like that kept you away from, like, doing drugs? Not to say,
I'm gonna say no.
No. If you were doing it as you watched it as a child. It's like, that's how to roll a joint. Thanks, Garfield.
If you're gonna learn how to roll a joint, it should be from Garfield.
Lorenzo music. So first you're gonna take this paper and then lick the bottom of it. Yeah.
It's very calming. It's very
yeah.
That's the way you want. He should give all directions.
You want to help track down the thief, Garfield?
Hey, going through life with a blue lampshade is work enough. Wake me when the lasagna comes.
You're saying it didn't work?
No. Well, meaning like I grew up with a healthy knowledge of not to do. Would you remember this is serious? It was these little pills that were puppets.
No, we had in Canada, don't put it in your mouth.
Don't you put it in your mouth. Don't you put it in your mouth. Don't you stuff it in your face. Don't stuff it in your face.
That ended up being something completely like a rap song.
We had a different version, yeah.
Yeah, ours was just don't put anything in your mouth.
We had this is serious. It will make you delirious.
No. This is serious. We could make you delirious.
And then Busta Rhymes covered it. This is serious.
Yeah.
This is serious. We could make you delirious. You should have a healthy fear of us.
Yeah, that was the kids' song about pills. Yeah.
And then he turned it into a rap song.
He turned it into a rap song. But you can find it was originally literally puppet pills and quaaludes.
So do you think that it worked in an adverse way where it was introducing drugs to kids in a cartoon form and kids were kind of like,
I don't know, maybe because
that looks fun.
Maybe because I'm older now and I'm a comedian and I think it's insane to show a child a puppet of a quaalude singing to you.
I was gonna say, you're also a father. We're both
we're both
dads.
That's a whole different thing now.
Being parents now and like looking at these PSAs, I feel like they've kind of vanished from kind of the scope of children's entertainment or like Saturday morning cartoons. And do you think that the moral messaging is now in the show? You play Panda on We Bare Bears, which I think is a very wholesome show.
Yes, very much so.
Any kind of situations or moral messaging coming up, whether it was forced or organic in a show like that?
We Bare Bears was always about inclusion and like feeling alienated and not alienating people, and that was what the whole series was about. And all of their problems were based on the fact of that. They moved to San Francisco, they're bears in a human world, and they felt out of place, and like that's what it was always about. But it wasn't like every episode they were like, and also don't talk to strangers.
Right.
Like it's not that seems to have gone by the wayside, or is it just there's the whole strangers? There's so much content now they can do an entire show just about not talking to strangers.
So now you have created your very own cartoon. You had Lofi. It was online on Comedy Central.
Yeah, it was hopefully to make a series at some point.
Great. Okay, so the PSAs that you watched led you to making a cartoon that was solely based off of Manatee.
Yeah, that was a more like I enjoyed the cartoon Dr. Katz.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're in denial about being in therapy?
I've just convinced myself that there's a friend that I see once a week, and then I lend him $150.
And I wanted to make something like Dr. Katz, kind of like an improvised, kind of half improvised story kind of telling thing, and I thought, what better way to not move than a manatee that sells weed and he can't leave his tank ever, so you have to come to him to get it.
Kind of like in real life.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. In my experience, buying drugs off a zoo animal,
it's a lot.
That's how it's been for me.
It must be really good weed if you have to climb a fence to get it.
What can I get for you, sir?
The usual, my body weight in weed.
13 ounces of sativa. There you go.
Thank you,
That's
thank you,
$619.
Danke,
Straight up cash. I will give you $1 another day. day.
But then we have like I'm gonna put Lofi in the same category of the anti-PSA, like Cheech and Chong. I mean, again, not cartoons, might as well be. And something like Harold and Kumar, pretty much the closest thing we'll ever have to it, like a live. Actually, they did have animation in one of the sequels.
You're right.
Holy shit, dude! You're claymated.
So are you.
Like, I mean, do you think delivering the message in that way, showing you, like in a more comedic way, in a more accepted, like celebrated way, will steer kids away from it?
Well, I mean, like it's hard because I mean, like Cheech and Chong, like it's funny and it teaches you how to like have a sense of humor about it, and like but it's hard now as a parent, like to talk about like that kind of stuff. I made Lofi, like I'm gonna have to explain that someday.
Let's just say I'll tell you when you're older.
Much older. This is a preschool.
So how's that conversation gonna go down then, with you having to explain to your child that Daddy made a cartoon about a pot-dealing manatee?
I think it's in the show itself. Lofi just wants to be a good dad, and
because he's a dad too.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Is like, how can I be a good dad and also be a weed-dealing manatee?
Boo!
Whoa!
We have to construct a Lofi bong or some kind of paraphernalia.
Someone may already have.
What? Oh, you?
Yeah, no, it was me.
Well, why didn't you bring it? So, scary politicians. Do you think they should have just stopped animating and just shown a picture of Richard Nixon?
Yeah, don't you feel like the second Ronald Reagan finished saying that, he went and smoked a joint? I feel like there's a good possibility.
He was an actor. Yeah. Come on.
Even Nancy, I hope she was.
They looked stoned.
Yeah, they did.
Actually, I mean, definitely the puppeteering of the government once again trying to control its people, and now not just its people but its children.
I love the idea too of like, how are we gonna fix this? I have an idea. Let's tell the Ninja Turtles to tell children.
Yeah.
They live in a sewer. They'll listen to them.
Yeah.
They love pizza too, just like kids. It's so like it's so weird. Like to go like, let's get to them through the thing they love most.
Well, I was gonna say, you said after just the first 30 seconds of that, hearing that voice again.
It's true. That second that kid said, "You want some marijuana?"
Pot, marijuana.
Like, I don't remember not wanting marijuana. I remember that kid because I heard it 1,000 times a day. And I probably didn't want marijuana because I was sick of that commercial.
Right.
Maybe it did work. That's why.
Putting it in a commercial because everyone hates ads.
I don't think I would have known what marijuana is.
That's what I'm saying.
If it wasn't thrown in my face by the Filmation's Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Filmation's Ghostbusters.
Not the real Ghostbusters, Filmation's Ghostbusters.
And about 50 or 70% of the people that had to animate that probably were on drugs while they were animating this.
Yeah.
That's just my guesstimate.
Sorry, Canada, but the truth is there are no arts without drugs. I feel like possibly. No, maybe no.
I don't know, man. There's a reason why they have such good donuts there.
I think that's correct.
And it's not for health reasons. It's for post-marijuana munchies. Like, looking forward, do you think the PSA should make a comeback? Or do you think it should just, stay within moral messaging of, like, cartoons?
Yeah, it should make a comeback. It's always good to tell children not to do stuff in some capacity, right? But maybe it just has to come back in the new way that it should. Does that make sense? Like not in the same way that it was back then. I feel like kids are different now, and
right.
You got to break it to them in a different way. Maybe
right.
We hung out, like we went out and played in streets, and like we were I remember like throwing a rope around the back of a fender on my rollerblades and getting dragged by cars through New York. I don't think kids do that anymore.
I have a feeling there's still a small pocket. I think that there might be some cool kids out there that like to get.
I hope there's some dangerous children out there still.
Don't do drugs, but tie yourself to the back of a car on some rollerblades. Smash your face into the concrete.
Have some fun, but don't ruin your life. Come on.
So Seth MacFarlane recently created the coronavirus PSA, probably the first animated PSA, and again, maybe not necessarily targeted towards children.
That's what I was going to say. Isn't it crazy that it's mostly for adults?
Right.
God, I hate getting shots. Why do I gotta get this stupid COVID vaccine anyway?
Peter, it's COVID. You should know how to say it. It's been well over a year.
Yeah, I only ever read it.
adults that act like children.
Children that understood how to listen to cartoons when they were children grew up not caring and not getting vaccinated because they didn't work, those PSAs. No, I'm just kidding. And now they have to be taught as adults. Yeah.
Right.
Pretty crazy.
I feel like I watched that one and it was great. You know?
Very effective. Well, he's also brilliant, and he sometimes people need to learn through comedy. It's easier. It's a funner way to get that information down that horrible information down your throat.
Such a heavy-handed subject.
Yeah,
with
so
just a little bit of
he's
animation.
somebody who's handled been on television long enough and handled comedy long enough that I think he did a pretty amazing job with a terrible subject.
I wonder if there's a stat that we could look at to see how many more people got vaccinated after seeing that.
Wow, I wonder. Yeah, it's like when Obama did Between Two Ferns.
I mean, I have to say, when I heard that, like, people actually watch this show, I was actually pretty surprised.
About healthcare, like it's the same thing. Like it's like just playing to that audience a little bit.
Well, maybe there is still hope for the PSA. I feel like there should be a PSA about PSAs.
And that's one to grow on.
That's the moment. That's so cool.
Yeah, but remember Woodsy and who did you just, Smokey the Bear?
Smokey the Bear, he's still, they did, I don't know if you've seen those PSAs, but it's like kind of like the Animoji, so they had celebrities. The best one was Betty White. So it would be Smokey going, remember kids, it's me, but you might not listen to me anymore. Listen to Betty White. And then it literally be still the same Animoji, but it's like Betty White's voice.
Honorary Forest Ranger Betty White here, lending a hand to my dear friend Smokey Bear.
And she sounds, like she actually sounds like she's turned into Winnie the Pooh.
I got cast as Winnie the Pooh and then the show didn't go.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
When was this?
A couple years ago. I mean, this is the important stuff that you need.
This is the welcome to gigs we didn't book. I got Sean Astin on Ninja Turtles. I was the fourth Raphael.
Really?
And they're like, we got this new guy. He was in a movie called Rudy.
Ugh.
He will be taking your part.
Oh,
if you're gonna
God.
get Sean Astin by anyone.
But you've been a couple Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
So relax.
I'm fine.
Talking to the guy who still hasn't been a Ninja Turtle over here. No,
Oh my God, you need to be.
I would love
and then
I would
tell
be
us
Donatello.
not to do drugs.
If you could be any Ninja Turtle, which one would you be?
I haven't been Michelangelo. I'm not cool enough.
Interesting.
Not cool
Weird. I would think that would be the first one you would be.
Nope.
You do my show Turtle Talk.
Yes, yeah. I'm in. Well, let's talk about our fear of open water. I know we talked about that earlier.
Yes.
There should be a PSA about open water.
Correct. It's awful. We shouldn't be in it. Everyone thinks the aliens are in space. They're wrong.
They're under the
ocean.
They're in the ocean,
Yeah,
right?
they're going to kill us all.
All right. So we've talked about animation trying to deliver the do's and don'ts about life. But I'm convinced that some of these characters may have been on some substances themselves.
Yes, they all have an energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be categorized.
So if we could put like 60 seconds on the clock, go down a list of cartoon characters and kind of, in your best knowledge, think about what they were on.
I think this is a great idea.
Okay.
What's up, Doc? Bugs Bunny. What was I on?
Bugs might just be smoking weed because he seems like
chill,
pretty together. He's always chomping on a carrot, though. He's always got something.
He's got the munchies.
He's chewing on it. He's not being rude about it. But he is chomping.
But he's
all
so,
day long.
Most pot abusers.
But his eyes are kind of half there a lot.
Half-lit
He's pretty
eyes.
chill. Like, what's up, Doc? Like, he don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
Daffy Duck?
Cocaine. So much cocaine, don't you think?
Never been so humiliated in all my life.
Yeah, Daffy Duck. Gosh. It might not be cocaine, though. It might just be, like, coffee. It might just be, like, he might just be on, like, Stacker 2s. He might have a handful of old pills from the 90s.
That's strange. All of a sudden, I don't quite feel like myself.
I'm addicted to energy drinks.
Yeah, he might just be on, like, Red Bull and White Claws. Or...
He's a party girl.
He is a party girl, I think.
He has the lisp, so he was maybe a little sloppy.
Maybe he could have been drunk the whole time.
Or maybe it's like a muscle relaxer and his tongue is in. Maybe he's mixing stuff.
I'm addicted to pills.
Winnie the Pooh. We've already talked about him, and he always has one hand in the job.
Of course. What could be more important than a little something to eat?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's just honey. How dare you? And how dare you insinuate that Winnie the Pooh would be on drugs?
This could be CBD, honey.
I'll take that.
Okay.
Beavis and Butthead? What were we on?
Oh, see, I feel like they were lying about taking drugs. I feel like they were teens who were like, we're so stoned and we're so drunk, and they weren't.
They were never.
They're straight edge, and they're just not cool enough to know.
What about, I don't do SpongeBob, but what about SpongeBob SquarePants?
I mean, we know Tom Kenny. I mean,
Yes, very much so. Wow. I feel like maybe acid, just because of the world he lives in.
Yeah,
and
that
the
I
way
can see.
it switches from animation to painting, cell painting. Like, that seems a little acidy in there, maybe.
It's definitely one that you want to do, acid to.
I think so. I'm not a big acid guy. I never have been, thank God.
Like, what about Shaggy? I mean, it's a little obvious.
Ew.
Have you ever played Shaggy?
I have never.
Isn't that crazy? Just let him do it. Just make a Shaggy cartoon. Call it Shaggy and turn the mics on.
Yeah.
Shaggy smoking weed, probably. What else, though? Now, what kind of weed is Shaggy's still smoking joints. He's not like
He's not a
vaping.
vapor. No. He's old school.
No, he wouldn't know how to use it. He's not being responsible for a charger.
No. Like, well, I can't even find a USB. Like, that wasn't even
You
around
don't know
back
what
then.
Wi-Fi is. Come
Yeah.
on.
Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol. They're all on performance-enhancing drugs.
Their growth has been stunted, actually, yeah.
My daughter is 4 years old. 4 years old, and she turned to me after watching the Paw Patrol movie, and she said, Dada, how come they never lose?
Oh my God.
Isn't that bonkers?
That's a very deep question.
They don't. The Paw Patrol have never failed.
0 injuries.
Zero injuries, 0 failures.
Yeah.
Crazy. But a lot of pressure on the Paw Patrol.
Maybe overdosing on children's vitamins for them. That might be the only close thing I think they could get their paws on.
Yeah.
Popeye. I mean, clearly, spinach.
Yeah, laced spinach.
Oh, spinach laced with performance enhancing.
GHB. What's that? Is that?
HGH.
Yeah. HGH. Yeah. Is
Human
that it?
growth.
Human growth hormone.
And it all got stuck in his forearms. None of it got to the rest of him.
He's not a smart man.
No.
He's just a sailor man.
Yeah. The corncob pipe was always upside down. See, he's not a smoker.
Yeah, he would put spinach in his pipe, I think. Not a smart man. And Wimpy was addicted to hamburgers.
Clearly, but not weed.
Nope.
He was just an obsessive eater.
I have the same thing he has.
Great clothes like that suit.
A hat way too small for my head. Big open coat for all the burgers to fit in.
Yeah. Just one button done.
I would gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
I mean, who makes that deal? Who is walking around in their life making hamburger deals? I love that guy.
I'll have a hamburger, for which I will gladly pay you Tuesday.
Kids in general and humans in general about rules, the more that you enforce them, the more that they want to break them. So I feel like if you're a storyteller and you're trying to maybe teach someone something, don't try to cram it down. Let it be as natural and organic as possible, and you might learn something.
Yeah, it's like, what are the popular things now? Are there Pokemon going around saying, "You found me? Don't rob me"? Are they doing this?
Did someone rob you?
I was robbed by a Pokemon when I was a child.
Oh my God, which one? Let's kick his ass. Or its ass, whatever.
No, I just think robbing is bad. It's my go-to crime. It's just robbing in general. Robbers.
My guest has been Mr. Bobby Moynihan.
Bye, Canada.
See you, Canada.
Hey guys, Eric Bauza here, the host of Stay Tuned. I hope you liked that video, and if you did, you might want to check out these videos. I don't know where to look. They're going to put videos somewhere, right? Oh, and be sure to hit the subscribe button.